From Stefanos Tsitsipas refusing to acknowledge his longtime rival, to David Ferrer being the greatest player to never win a Grand Slam title. Here are the tennis players that got snubbed big time. So Stefanos recently shared who he thinks is the greatest tennis player ever. Interestingly, he didn't mention Novak Djokovic despite Novak being one of his biggest rivals. Stefanos himself has achieved quite a bit in his career, making it to 2 Grand Slam finals where he unfortunately lost to Novak on both occasions. But according to Stefanos, being the greatest of all time isn't just about winning the most tournaments or Grand Slams, and it's not about having the most victories. He believes it's more about a player's impact on the sport and how they inspire people. He also said it's the kind of person that brings joy to other people through his craft. He then specifically mentioned Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal as players who possess these qualities and have made a significant impact on tennis. But Stefanos didn't mention Novak, who has an impressive record with 22 Grand Slam titles. It's an interesting perspective from Stefanos, highlighting the importance of inspiring others and bringing joy to the sport, rather than just focusing on the number of titles won. In fact, there are many times tennis players who aren't as glamorous don't get the attention they deserve and end up getting snubbed. The 2022 Women's Wimbledon champion, Elena Rybakina, is one of them. In 2023, the Australian Open faced criticism for scheduling Elena to play on an outside court, leading some fans to speculate that it may be due to her appearance and a lack of marketability. Elena, who caused a sensation in 2022 by defeating Ons Jabeur in the Wimbledon final, didn't see her ranking improve as Wimbledon didn't award points to Russian athletes due to the conflict in Ukraine. Despite becoming a naturalized Kazakh in 2018, she wasn't able to climb the rankings. She was scheduled to play Italian player Elisabetta Cocchiaretto in the first round on court 13 at Melbourne Park. This decision has raised eyebrows, with tennis writer Ben Rothenberg questioning why the reigning Wimbledon champion has been relegated to an outside court. Many fans also joined the conversation, suggesting that her appearance may have played a role in the scheduling. Others were angry that male players are rewarded based on their achievements, while female players are sometimes reduced to their looks and marketability. They also pointed out that Elena may not be considered a big name relative to more well-known and crowd-drawing players. A Twitter user even speculated that the Australian Open prioritized showcasing Emma Raducanu, who gained prominence for her remarkable performance at the US Open. The scheduling decision sparked debate and raised concerns about fair treatment and recognition for players based on their achievements, rather than external factors. But relegating the Wimbledon champion of the time to a side court is definitely a snub. Also, the fact that she didn't get any ranking points for her Wimbledon win is an even bigger snub, and only because she was born in Russia. Elena's Wimbledon title became a significant story for many reasons, including the decision by the All England Lawn Tennis Club to exclude Russian and Belarusian players from the event due to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. As a result, Elena, who represents Kazakhstan but was born in Russia, was not granted ranking points for her triumph. Despite this controversy, she emerged as the rightful winner, dominating her opponents and dropping just 2 sets throughout the tournament. In terms of rankings, winning a Grand Slam typically earns a player 2,000 points, which can significantly boost their position in the rankings. With the buzz surrounding Elena's first Grand Slam title and her impressive performance against many top-ranked players, it seemed unlikely that she would be treated as just another lower-tier contender. She had defeated numerous formidable opponents, but missed out on facing some strong competitors from Russia and Belarus. That said, the impact of not receiving those 2,000 ranking points turned out to be pretty hard on her. But she's not the only tennis player to be affected by the war. The former men's world #1 Daniil Medvedev and a whole lot of top-ranking Russian tennis players have had a tough time. The ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine has had significant repercussions in the world of sports, with many tournaments and governing bodies implementing bans on Russian and Belarusian players. One of the major tournaments affected by these bans was Wimbledon in 2022. Russian tennis star Daniil Medvedev, ranked #2 in the world at the time, voiced his disappointment over being barred from competing at Wimbledon. In an interview with Russian news agency TASS, Medvedev expressed his frustration at the ban, which prevents not only him, but all other Russian and Belarusian players from participating in the prestigious tournament. The ban stems from the broader restrictions imposed on athletes from these countries. His remarks shed light on the personal impact felt by players caught up in these sports-related consequences of the geopolitical situation. The fact that Medvedev spoke up about the situation actually worked, because Wimbledon did end up changing their plan. It went from a complete ban on participation to no points being awarded. So you could get 2,000 points for winning the tournament, but your ATP ranking would remain the same. The Ukraine-Russia conflict has also come down to personal snubs between players. Marta Kostyuk refused to shake hands with her opponent, Varvara Grachev. Why? Well, because Marta is from Ukraine and Grachev is Russian. It happened at the ATX Open in Austin, Texas in 2022, where Marta ended up winning the match with a score of 6-3 and 7-5. And she was so thrilled that she collapsed to the court after converting the match point. But here's the interesting part. When it came time to shake hands with Gracheva, Kostyuk decided not to. It turns out that earlier that year, during the Australian Open, she made a statement saying that she wouldn't shake hands with any Russian or Belarusian opponent due to the ongoing war in her country. And it wasn't even her first time doing this. She also refused to shake hands with Victoria Azarenka from Belarus. The reason behind it is that Belarus is being used as a staging ground for Russia's war in Ukraine. During the trophy presentation for her first WTA singles title, Marta even dedicated the victory to Ukraine. She also said how incredibly special it was for her to win the title considering the situation. But it's not always an opponent or organization that ends up ignoring a player. Sometimes it's just the hand they've been dealt. There have been instances where tennis players might be seen as being snubbed or not receiving the recognition they deserve. Take Dominika Cibulkova, for instance. The Slovakian player had a remarkable career. She even reached the final of the Australian Open in 2014 and achieving a career-high ranking of number 4 in the world. She's often regarded as someone who could have won a Grand Slam title, and her absence from the list of major champions is sometimes seen as a snub. Throughout her career, Dominika established herself as a fierce competition, known for her aggressive playing style and exceptional speed on the court. Despite her relatively small stature at 5 feet 3 inches, she displayed impressive power and shot-making abilities. While Dominika never won a Grand Slam title, she had several notable victories throughout her career. She won a total of 8 WTA singles titles. Dominika also represented Slovakia in numerous Fed Cup ties, contributing to the success of the Slovakian team. In 2019, Dominika announced her retirement from professional tennis at the age of 30. Since then, she has remained part of the tennis community, occasionally working as a commentator and analyst for tennis events. Her aggressive style of play, speed, and determination made her a fan favorite on the tennis court. Despite not winning a Grand Slam title, she left a lasting impact on the game with her impressive achievements and memorable performances. Spanish player David Ferrer also had a similar fate. The Spanish player enjoyed a successful career, consistently ranking among the top players in the world. He played the French Open final in 2013, and his highest ranking was 3rd in the world, which is quite impressive. But he was often overshadowed by his more illustrious Spanish-speaking counterparts, such as Rafael Nadal and David Nalbandian. Ferrer reached significant milestones and achieved notable success during his tennis career. In 2006, Ferrer initially broke into the top 10 rankings, and he reached his career-best ranking of world number 3 in July 2013. His performance was always consistent and impressive. This led to him being widely regarded as one of the finest players to have never won a Grand Slam tournament. In 2019, Ferrer announced his retirement from professional tennis after competing in the Barcelona Open, a tournament he won on 3 occasions. Since retiring, Ferrer has remained involved in tennis, coaching, and mentoring young players. His unwavering determination, consistency, and exceptional work ethic endeared him to fans and fellow players alike. He left a lasting impact on the sport, proving that success in tennis does not solely depend on physical attributes, but also on mental strength and an unwavering commitment to the game. So, from Ferrer never winning a Grand Slam title in his stellar career to Djokovic being left out of Stefanos' list of the GOATs, those were the tennis players that got snubbed.